I just played the marathon server slam for 2 days, and I think I've made up my mind about this game. After 2 days of playing the launch build and play testing it before this weekend as well. People say it, the game's not even out. How can you say what you think about the game without realizing that this is a server stress test for all intents and purposes? This is the game. Yes, parts of it are locked off. For example, I wanted to go for the heatsink level 2 upgrade, and I played like 3 games without realizing that my rank wasn't going up to rank 12. For Cyber Acme, I had to hit rank 12, but the faction ranks are capped at rank 10 for this stress test. Which, by the way, the actual server performs very well. I believe they are 60 hertz, and you can feel it because you go into this as a Destiny player expecting shots to feel delayed and stuff like that. None of that here. Guns feel responsive. When you get in fights with other players, you have moments where you shoot them and they go down, but then you don't even realize that they're down. And me and my friend who played Destiny a lot, we had this issue, and I believe it's some of that PTSD from Destiny carrying over. Like I'll open fire on someone and they'll have a green shield, and then while I'm spraying, I'll think, "Oh fuck, this guy's got fucking green shields. I've lost." And then right as I'm having that thought, they go down. A lot of people are complaining that there's not enough PvP in this game. I think that's complete hogwash. I average like 2 PvP encounters per run, but I don't really stay until the end. Like I'm usually out within the first 10 minutes. I'm the type of guy that goes in and does contracts and gets out. So I just don't agree with that. I mean, I've had some pretty intense moments. One time, me and my friend were in that infested building on perimeter that you need to climb in through the roof. You got to climb in through the roof and scan that card. And 3 teams, one after the other, came and trapped us in that building, and we fought all 3 of them off. We later died while exfilling, but that was really intense. It felt like a scene out of The Purge, or some like thriller movie. The UI is very very good. I play on PC, but I've heard that this game also uses the cursor mechanic for consoles. Like you control a cursor instead of using your D-pad to navigate the menu, and people have complained about that, saying it's too slow. You spend a lot more time looting, and it's harder to react if someone sneaks up on you while you're looting. So this is a negative, but I feel like that is something they definitely will fix. However, this is Bungie, and they are known for not delivering on quality of life fixes, and then they'll hold off on it, and then when they do it, they'll announce it in like a tweet and make it this big deal when it's a menu like navigation system. Like, come on, we're excited because we're so abused by the way you update your game. But Bungie put out a tweet where they addressed the amount of player spawns, so I guess they've made it more active for people that want PvP, which is fine by me. A big point of contention for a lot of players is the heat system, like your stamina. This system used to be worse before this build of the game, so they've made it a lot better. I think it's fine. I don't mind not sprinting all the time. There's the cardio kick consumable is very good, and the depleted consumable system is very good. So if you see a depleted cardio kick on the floor, you can hold X on it and quickly use it and keep going. It's very fast paced. I like it, which is ironic. People are saying it's slow. I don't think it's slow. I think the real problem is momentum transfer. Is that the right word? Like in Apex, if you slide while going down a hill, you like maintain that momentum. If you do it here, you do a slide, you stop, and half your heat is used up. I think they should definitely use the sliding momentum system from Apex, which might take a little bit of time to implement, but hey, that's a critique. It's a critique of mine. I still think the inventory management has some kinks to work out. Some item sizes should be reworked. I don't think grenades should take up 2 slots, especially smoke grenades. You can carry 3 of them in one stack, which is quite generous, but you really, really, really feel those 2 slots. And I understand that there are bigger backpacks that we will get in the full game, but still, I don't think it will be very satisfying after that. I think Bungie have intentionally set up the first year of content ahead of time. Like at the end of this season, people are gonna start getting bored by the UESC. I mean, I'm already getting bored of them. They're much better than the arcs in Arc Raiders. I mean, that's just a bunch of horse shit. I played like 4 games of Arc Raiders and I got sick of the enemies. Like it's just a bunch of hunks of metal. I couldn't. Yes, I've seen the matriarch. I saw the matriarch in my first game. I was not impressed. The UESC are very tactical. The AI is very well done in this game. It's miles better than Destiny. I'm a little bit let down by their overall designs in terms of like if you blacked out the images and looked at their silhouettes, a lot more could be done. In game, it's written that the generals or commanders, whatever they're called, they're more. You're supposed to look at the color of their frame. That's not on. I can't like. I tried and it's like, oh, here's an enemy, and then you shoot them and they don't die. Okay, I guess that's a commander. You can see in this gameplay, I'm really trying to go for like a melee build here. And the regular guys, they just go down in 2 hits. I've got all types of items on where it's like, oh, this increases melee damage. This applies toxic, and I just don't feel any of it. Yes, I know there are better versions of the items that we are yet to unlock. Yes, I know you're supposed to focus on the guns and all the other stuff and the grenades. I know this isn't like Destiny where you can make like a melee build and just go in and slay out. But when I play as like this, I'm playing as Void right here, who is a very good character for solo and for team play. If you're exfilling with a Void on your team, your chances go up by like 30%. He'll just use his ult. He's got his ult. He's got his V ability, and then he can go invisible himself, so he can go in and stealth people to death. But when I play as Void or anyone, but I'll use Void for this example because I understand that characters need to have their own quirks. Why does Void not have the ability to instant kill NPCs from behind with a knife? Like, I want to be able to maintain that stealth feeling. Like, look, see that? I applied Toxic to him. It did nothing. I applied Toxic, it does nothing. They turn around, they have a little panic. They make a lot of noise, so like if there are players around, they know that I'm sneaking around, killing these enemies. And I just feel like, at least as Void, they should let you have that opportunity. See there, I didn't know that guy was a boss character, but he had that white backpack on. I guess that's supposed to be your tell, but I just couldn't tell in this environment here. I feel like the enemy variety really makes the status effect stuff less meaningful. Like, if I kill a UESC guy with corrosive damage, I feel like they should drop more salvage, whatever part it is supposed to be. I don't know all the part names off by hand, but there's like metals or whatever. They should drop more metals because I've like corroded their metals off. And I know that there is a secret location that you unlock last in this season, which is, I think, the Marathon ship. If it's not, then it is a ship. And one of the Svit aliens are on it. Maybe multiple. Look at this right here. This is a great thing about this game. I went in with my invisibility and stole that guy's. Well, I didn't steal it. We both exfilled, but he had no idea I was there. That is one of the great things about this game. You don't get that with a game like Arc Raiders because this doesn't exist in a game like Arc Raiders. You're both just people, and you have to communicate. And if you're friendly, and you just stand there and you look at each other as you exfil. It is very simple-minded to talk about this game and say, "Oh yeah, it's like Apex," or "Oh yeah, it's like Arc Raiders," because it's just not. I've played all those games. This is something unique here. I do think, however, that Arc Raiders items they're translated better into the human mind. Like some of this stuff, it's gonna take a little bit of you gotta break your brain a little bit to know what things are in this game. And I've done that. I know that because I've done it. At first, when I played during the play tests, I don't know what the fuck I was looting. I thought it was shit. And I think they've changed some of the icons of items because it was much easier to get into the flow of things. Again, there are still some kinks to be worked out. Like dropping items is quite finicky. You can't. There's no drop hotkey, at least to my knowledge. Maybe you have to bind it manually yourself, but I don't think that should be a thing. I think there should be just a button, a default button to just drop things instantly. But looking here at the items, if you see that green square over there next to the healing item, that was an amp that just makes your abilities come back quicker. And then to the right of the healing item, there was the signal jammer, which turns you into like a mosaic censored pixely thing, so people can still see you, but it's you look blurry, so it's hard for them to see you from a distance or to land headshots. I had a moment where I got in a gunfight and I landed every bullet. I'm not a bad shot. I always aim center mass and I get a few headshots, but I lost the fight because the guy was using signal jammer, and those few headshots that I failed to make would have saved me there. But he had signal jammer, so he won. The game does have a lot of Destinyism still. Like some of the guns have recoil that's just like, okay, that's just Destiny, and that's not a good thing. Trading items with friends, that seems a bit, it can be worked on a little bit, but see, these problems here, these can be fixed. They're completely doable. I'm not stressed about these things. Like they can be fixed. The things that worry me about this game are the way that Bungie plans to deliver new content to it. Like we don't know what the seasonal structure will look like for this game. Some of the tasks for these factions are just really contrived and trivial. Most of them is just to go to a place and scan a thing, and luckily it's the type of game that this is. The main content is going there and what happens on your way there. Doing the task is your reward for making it there. You know what I mean? I do understand that, but still, I feel like we could have been a bit more creative. The task reward for making it there doesn't feel rewarding. You're gonna find your first hour of this game will be doing the contracts, the introductory contract, and most of them they're just to like go to a place and scan a thing, which may sound familiar to some Destiny veterans, and they, oh god, this is where we get dicey. A world like Marathon being an extraction shooter is a bit of a letdown, like this, and this is a prime example of it. You go to a place and you scan a thing, and that's how you're introduced to this faction, other than the little dialogue they give you at the start. But most people are going to skip that to get to the gameplay. Like, yeah, I thought we learned this from Destiny. They got a lot to learn. Like, look here, it says defeat a hostile with a melee or knife attack grants a stacking bonus to your melee damage. Describe it. Describe the stack. Tell me the number. you know like, why are we dilly dallying? It's literally dilly dallying. And then again, Destiny 1, part of the hype was, look at this star-studded voice cast we have. It was arguably bigger in Destiny. Like, they had Peter Dinklage, Maggie from The Walking Dead, obviously Lance Reddick, he's from The Wire, one of the best TV shows ever. Bill Nye, just, oh my god, there was so many, everyone. Nathan Fillion, like, it was just star-studded, man. And they're doing the same thing here. Like, they got Roger Clark from Red Dead, but it's like, well, they're gonna be like hidden radio tape people, or they're gonna be faction vendors. And it's like, well, it's kind of a waste, honestly. And how often are you going to be able to get them back in the booth to record dialogue for your seasons? You've got to do a bit of forward thinking here. Hopefully, I'm wrong. Hopefully, they're able to work all this out. But they got a bad track record. The ideal year of updates for this game would be, you start off with a new character. That's not your Discord. That's mine. Then you introduce a new map for the next big update. It's like 4 updates a year. I feel like that's what they're gonna do. That's what most of these games do. And then you do one where it's a lot of small things. Like the lots of small things update. Like, this would be like the Destiny equivalent would be what we're gonna get in June, where they simply bring back the old raids. They don't really. It won't be like in terms of file size. They won't be adding a lot, but it will still be new. It'll be fresh, and then end the year with another character, 2 characters at most a year. Me personally, like, these games, they always, man. The thing that ruins it is they add way too many characters way too quickly, and then they can't balance them all. One character affects the entire roster and the way you interact with the map and everything. One last thing, we're talking about characters. I want to touch on the Rook, which is a new character they added late into development. He can only be played solo. You can't take a loadout with him, and you can't do any contracts. So you go in with nothing to lose and everything to gain. And even then, you can still just play like a complete animal and get some fun out of it. I think there will be a massive subculture in this game around rook players. There are two ways that I could see people playing as the rook. I think the rook will really appeal to the Destiny PvP players who are just complete fiends. They go in, they play PvP, they want to use their 120 hand cannons and shit on people and just hit clips and ruin people's day. Make the objective for them is to make sure the person they're playing against is having no fun. The interesting thing about the rook is you can load in at any point during a game. So here, as you can see, I load in when there's 9 minutes left. So more often than not, you're loading in at the perfect time to ruin someone's run. The rook has basic abilities. His ult is just being able to heal himself instantly. And then his basic ability is to blend in with NPCs. Not towards other players. Like, other players will still see the rook, but NPCs will just ignore the rook. That's it. That's all the rook does. So for the average player, the rook would be an opportunity to get in and play, and perhaps, without losing anything, get some items to exfil with. Now here's the funny part. The first player I described, the fiend, he will go in as the rook, but sometimes, right? Sometimes, as a rook, you could maybe find a piece of loot that is so valuable that suddenly the tables have turned. Now you need to exfil. Now you got to get out of there. You got to avoid conflict because you're just a rook. You got nothing. You can't go invisible. You can't get an insta kill ability. You can't go fast. You can't make a shield. You're just a guy, and you are now in this map where all these guys have crazy abilities and they will probably kill you. I think this is great. This is where most of my time is going to be spent for the rest of this playtest. Without contracts and without ranking up factions and getting all the benefits, the rook is really like this wild card that gets into the game and just changes the trajectory of your progress. That's the best way to describe the rook. He's just a wild card, and I think it will go a long way for replay value. And I'm glad they added the rook. I'm gonna stop this here, guys. Marathon. It's not Concord 2.0. It's better than Arc Raiders. I'll be so real. This is probably the best extraction shooter on the market right now. It's got that polish. So I have high hopes for it. I hope Bungie supports it. I feel like an ex I feel like an ex that got broken up with who just wishes the best for that next guy that the girl goes for. It's like, oh, you know what, man, just enjoy it, bro. Because they fucked up Destiny, and it would just be awful for me to wish they fuck up Marathon. Because I had fun with this, man. This is fun. So yeah, I'm gonna stop this here. I'm gonna go play some Rook games, get some gameplay, and yeah, I'll see you on March 5th. I think March 6th, March 5th. I don't know. It's coming out like next week. So yeah, safe.